Christmas, everybody!
AKA Powders. Here's the thing. Cinemas 2025 is not over. Let's do a little bit of a life update. Coming back. I had one amazing Christmas weekend in Amish farm country with one of my fantasy football friends. He had another fantasy football friend of ours that's also in our league. That guy lived a little bit further north, but we all got together with a bunch of other dudes. Ended up in a cabin late at night, watching movie clips, watching action movie clips on YouTube. It was a lot of fun. So I trained in and I trained back. The lower leg of the arrival and the first leg of the departure is some of the most beautiful farmland Amish country, pastures, cows, horses that you can imagine. I Ubered around there to get to him. Amazing hills, just amazing things to look at. Like some of those old farmhouses where there's just old curio cabinets on the porch with just knickknacks. Like really, really picturesque stuff. So this past Monday, and I know you guys are getting this on the weekend, and Christmas has come and gone. And the reason why Christmas has come and gone is because on the weekends moving forward, I dabbled with it in during the fourth quarter of this year, and you guys know I have traveled more this year than I have in the last two years. Every single weekend for months, I'm doing something. I've only had a few spare weekends, I would say, for the entire fourth quarter of 2025. Going into that, we have a pool here. We have a pool. I had maybe 2 pool days this entire summer. That's how much traveling was done during the summer. So a lot of what you see here and hear, some of the live streams I do are pre-recorded. There's videos on YouTube, and we have articles going live now. Should be every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on AKAPAD.com. So this is a lot of the schedule. And when you have a schedule like this where, this past year, my AKA Powders, I dedicated myself to observe the day of rest. So we don't work on Sundays. If it's a work call or work email, it waits. If it's related to any of my freelance projects, it waits until Monday. 12:01 is fair going in the Monday. And I even developed a live stream series called Night of the Sabbath, where I break the Sabbath and I start working, and we celebrate that with a live stream. That's not every single week because, again, I've been traveling. But we have a lot of mechanisms. So there's a bigger update episode coming. But on the weekends and weeknights, we do documentaries. And let me just touch why documentaries are important. Before we get any further, we're discussing the Merchants of Joy 2025. This is the best documentary I've seen all year. It's one of the most well-made. It's got some of the best stories. And it does what, and let's go. Like, I want to explain why it's important to connect to documentaries. There's something magical, pun intended, that happens when you get shown a subject. You get educated into a subject. It's nice enough. There's enough flair. There's enough movement. And I attribute a lot of let's get going in this movie. The let's get going, meaning we have our core concept. We're breaching into our players, but it's education along the way. I want to lean into Owen Long. This is our credited writer for Merchants of Joy. Writers for documentaries, in my view and my experience, I have consulted on quite a few documentaries. One of my friends, I'll say maybe like one time, past, future, present friend, he's a documentarian. I know he's got stuff on streaming everywhere. He's made quite a few. He made a Christmas one too a couple years ago. So I had like long discussions with him. I used to meet up with him in Center City, Philly when we were close. We used to do like lunch dates. I think we did a Monday Night Raw together too, when I got some extra tickets. Back when The Miz was champion. You guys remember that? A documentary. And what Owen Long is able to do here. And I want to say he's writer / the guy in the editing bay. We instantly like the cast of characters. In this case, they're not characters, they're real life people. But we like what we're being told. The personalities in this are wild, different, but yet connected enough. This is something that's really hard to do, aka Powder. So when it happens, and I'm somewhat connected to the time in my life. There was a time in my life where I only had documentaries. It was like the early days of streaming. I didn't have a lot of money, living out of a 1-bedroom in New Jersey. Only had a few DVDs. Didn't go out much. I was just dedicated to my career. A lot of my bedrock that I have now was formed during that time. But I would watch a lot of documentaries. I would watch them on Justin.tv, and even the early days of Netflix, where Netflix only had a few movies at one time, and a lot of them were documentaries. And you would go from documentary to documentary, hoping to kind of get like a dopamine hit. It's a lot like looking for a high. I don't know what that's like, but looking for a high. You want something interesting enough that pulls you in, that triggers a dopamine drip. You can't turn it off. You can't walk away from it. You want to know more, and you're thrilled. See, the reason why you're thrilled, and this is why I was thrilled with Merchants of Joy. This is something I never thought about, and I'm being told this by our director, Cecilia Askogovich. I am butchering that last name. Our director is walking us through this. And my head is just spinning. Just like, how come, and you get a little bit angry. Why didn't I think about this before? I should have thought about where Christmas trees come from. What's the marketplace? What's the process to go from fields of trees to a New York City street? And I've been around New York during Christmas. I just came back from London during Christmas. I was in London early December for over a week. And the personalities and the way that we learn about this business and the people involved with this documentary, to me, this is a Oscar level nomination for Merchants of Joy. The Merchants of Joy. Towards the end, we have a heartfelt, perfect ending. I love the ending too, guys, where everyone's just kind of at this small dive bar. They're business friends, but they're also frenemies. They just always don't get along, but they're there to share a couple drinks together and share in the Christmas spirit. Really nice ending. One of our cast members who doubles as a Santa Claus. There is this gut-wrenching moment where we learn that he has cancer, and we go through his son, who is a recent college dropout. I think Penn. I think the kid was doing pretty good at Penn. We hear about his girlfriend, and they're talking about, like this is dying, like meaning, like the patriarch will no longer be with us, and it might be sooner than we would like. And it's just, it gets you. And before we lean into that, should I get his name? I don't think it matters. But he does a session with children who are in need, who are children's hospital level, terminal, maybe permanently paralyzed, and we see him with these kids. And it's like, for these kids, that this is their one time maybe to see Santa Claus. And he does that, right? And it makes you a little bit angry, right? Like, how does this guy get cancer? So we get into the emotional roundhouse. And leading into this, we learn about this industry. And it is mind-blowing. And some of it's like to be expected. The companies or the families that do the trees or also do the roses for Valentine's Day, and they do the flowers for Easter, right? But it's not the same. It's not the same as a Christmas tree. We make some commentary on the big box stores, also as expected. I give Owen lots of credit for not leaning too heavily into that, largely because it's not interesting. We want this crew, we want these individuals to be fighters. We don't want to portray the big box stores as dominating them. We want these people in a fight, and we want to feel that they get some punches in. This is one hell of a documentary. I watched it while I was doing some work on my way home on the train, and I couldn't look away from it. I eventually stopped working, went home, got home. My fiance, I give her thank you, ordered our Christmas cards every single year, right? Our Christmas cards are late, but she ordered them and decorated our tree. And our tree was put up as soon as we got back from London. But, her work kicks in, my work kicks in, everything from AKAPAD.com kicks in. But she decorated the tree. The tree looked beautiful, green with lights, I'll tell you that. So I come home. Presents aren't under the tree. We have our Christmas cards. The tree is perfect. And I put this documentary on. Watched it again. And she got pulled into it the same way I did. If you're ever in New York City and you see these trees, you have to understand how much of a battle, how much of a fight. And technically, these people, I believe that they pay too much. They pay through the nose to get into what they're doing. I view them as they're performing a public service, and they should get some breaks because of that. I know that's a wild concept. Government shouldn't tax everything, guys. I'll be honest. But AKA Powders, The Merchants of Joy, Amazon Prime original, Oscar-level documentary, Owen Long, spectacular work. Cecilia Anukovich, our director, incredible with these discussions that she guided. And even some of the people, like, you learn that in some of these tree markets, people live there. Because to understand, right, the tree market kind of doesn't close. So you got people working there 24/7, and they're sleeping there, eating there throughout the season. I would do that, by the way. But guys, there's a lot to learn. Eye-opening, heartfelt. There's nothing to correct about this documentary. It is perfect.
Okay, that's a wrap.